Hi, welcome back to part 2 of our discussion with OSK Property. Let's continue where we left off between Cern, Jeanette and Michael.
I think it's the first of its kind.
It is, there's nothing else like it.
It is the first of its kind,
Yep.
yeah.
And I think it's great as well with all these green spaces where we get all this, fresh air, especially in a time where, now we're post-COVID already,
Yep.
but which is really important.
Yes.
And I think, especially when you're living in an apartment, you want to have, all this fresh air being in the
Yep.
city and all that. What do you guys have installed in the building that,
Yep, so for the new release, for the Boulevard release, there's actually an air filtration system within the building. So every floor, the air that comes from outside will be filtered, whether doesn't matter what time of year it is. Melbourne has a very high air quality regardless, so we don't necessarily need to have filtered air. But that's something that they've put into the building as an extra. I think you're getting to the point that we've got a well certification, an application for a well certification in the new building.
Right, yeah.
So have you seen Google offices where they've got the wide open spaces and they've got lounges around their office and ping pong tables and double height ceilings and things that make it look very airy and bright. And that's not to encourage people to work less, that's to encourage people to work more, right?
More productive.
So that's a well certification. So light open spaces, lots of communal areas. In our Boulevard release, we've got Zen Gardens going in there, we've got an indoor pool, we've got the air filtration system. Even the way the building was designed, it's designed to cater, to maximise solar penetration to the site. So we don't want to have too much overshadowing. So the way the buildings are designed, the tallest one will be the Boulevard release, 73. It steps down to 67, which is where we are.
Yes.
Steps down further to 52, which is the building next door. And it'll step down further in buildings 4 and 5, just to enable all of them to get an equal amount of sun.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, and that's all part of getting that well certification. So it's to enable people to live in their building, have lots of public spaces to go to, not be confined to their apartment only if they don't want to, even though they are nice.
Yeah.
But basically improving people's mental and physical well-being while they're within their residence or within their building. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
And that would be the first building in Australia to attain a well certification. Yeah.
Wow.
So there's
Awesome.
no others that have got
Awesome.
it.
Really
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Especially in times like this, yeah.
Yep, and also, on top of that, it reduces the operating costs of the building as well. So if you've got an energy efficient building,
Yes.
it reduces the long-term operating costs of the tower, and then hopefully your maintenance and body corporate charges aren't going up as well. So it's just about being energy efficient. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So are we looking at what, a 6-star energy rating for this building?
It averages a 6-star energy rating. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, from a parent point of view again, talking about security, the details that the company or the developer has put in terms of ensuring security, entering and leaving the apartment. Yeah.
Yep. So you'll have a 24-hour concierge/security downstairs. So there's always somebody at the front desk. You can't get into the building without a security swipe or a fob key.
Yeah.
That'll open up the ground floor reception. Then when you get to your lift, you'll have to swipe that key again to get to your floor. So you can't just travel up and down to any floor you want. That'll have access to your apartment floor as well as the facilities level that you're entitled to access. So you won't have people coming in and travelling up and down and getting off wherever they please. They can only visit your apartment if you buzz them into your apartment.
Yeah.
Your guests will be downstairs. They'll ring your doorbell within your apartment. You can then buzz them in. They'll come up to your floor.
Oh, that's
Plus on top, even all the facilities like the pool areas, you won't have kids getting in because the swipes are a little bit higher up. So that they've thought about a fair few items like that just to make sure it's as safe as possible.
Very well thought out. Yeah, I noticed you guys had the cameras out at the facility floors as well.
Yep.
All the eyes in the skies, yeah.
You shouldn't need it in Melbourne. Melbourne was voted, Australia's safest mainland city, or Victoria's Australia's safest mainland state. So it's not a crime area, I would say.
No.
Totally safe. I've been here for so many years.
And also we're in the middle, again, we harp on about it, but we're in the middle of sort of the arts precinct. We're surrounded by 4 5-star hotels are nearby. So an arts precinct in any city in the world is normally in a pretty affluent area that's well maintained and looked after. And the same is for the South Bank area. When you've got neighbours being quality hotels and high-end educational facilities nearby and the arts precinct, you can sort of rest assured that the city streets and the streetscape is well maintained as well.
Yeah, it attracts a good sort of people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, you guys have thought it all, you know, even before building this building. So tell us a bit more about the company. You know, what's behind you guys? You know.
So we're still a privately owned business, owned by a gentleman in Malaysia. So OSK Property was founded in 1963. Well, OSK was founded in 1963. Originally a financial services provider, so in the banking and finance industry. They've since expanded into sort of hospitality, retail, construction, property and property development. So they're pretty much a multinational, more diversified conglomerate now. Financially a very, very stable company. No shortage of funds in terms of how to get these projects off the ground. And again, a major point for us is that we have a relationship with the EPF in Malaysia, which is the world's 6th or 7th largest superannuation fund. And they are a 49% stakeholder in the overall Melbourne Square development. So again, that provides a lot of assurity to clients purchasing from us, because a fund of that size wouldn't go into a development that they deem to be riskier or a development that may not go ahead. So we have a very strong financial backing, lots and lots of experience, predominantly in Malaysia. So we're a multi-award winning company in Malaysia, but this being our first project and our pilot project here in Melbourne, the company is extremely keen to get this being our landmark project and something that we can use in 3 or 4 or 5 years down the track to say, look what we developed over here.
Yeah.
That's excellent. I think it gives us a peace of mind to know who we're dealing with.
Strong backer.
Yes. Especially during this moment where you see a lot of other smaller builders, they're going under. So definitely,
A lot of them have left the market as well. A lot of projects that were marketed in Melbourne as well. They just during the last 3 or 4 years, not just COVID, but financial world has tightened up with how much they lend as well. So they've also left the market to an extent. We're one of the few that, we did touch on this earlier, but our stage 2 is the fastest selling off the plan project in Melbourne at the moment. So in less than 8 weeks, we've had 160 odd contracts signed, another 30 or 40 deposits there as well. So we're nearing around about 30% sold before we've even done a major launch here in Melbourne.
Amazing.
So it's only pre-release.
Only pre-release. And that speaks volumes for what people have judged, the location, the value and the price. And they've made a decision that it's worth all 3 of those. And again, you're not settling here in a new project until 2026. I think that will be a very different scenario as well. Interest rates will probably be a little bit lower, I think. Population growth for Melbourne is at an all-time high. The rental market at the moment is as tight as it can get. South Bank's vacancy rate is around 1%. Anything under 3% is considered to be an undersupply of property. So in the next 3 years, this is the only project that will complete in 2026 in South Bank. So we're not talking about a lot of extra supply. So if you are looking for an investment, I think you're going to have a not too difficult a time finding tenants here.
Following on through to that, from the investor point of view, the compelling reasons about this investment opportunity here, besides the rental demand, we have shortage in supply,
a drastic undersupply.
Drastic undersupply, and we also have a very low vacancy rate.
Melbourne's led the nation's growth in terms of population growth for the last 20 years. Hasn't been something that's been post-COVID, and now it's a phenomenon that's just come on board. Melbourne's led the nation for all the reasons we discussed: a livable city, education, lifestyle. For all those reasons, people have come to Melbourne for a holiday and often come back and said, that's where I'd like to send my kids to study, that's where I'd like to retire, that's where I'd like to live. So it's got international appeal. The next 3 years, they're predicting record levels of population growth.
It is, that's what
Yeah.
the Albanese government plan is.
Yeah, and the difference between nowadays and perhaps the 70s and 80s, 70s and 80s you had unskilled migration. So the country was trying to grow its population. You could come here and live and stay in Melbourne by being a relatively unskilled migrant. My dad would have fallen into that category. Whereas nowadays, you've got the skilled migrant coming in. And skilled migrants, what does that mean? They've usually got a job that's in demand,
Yeah.
an industry that's in demand, they earn good money, and they can buy or rent property in good areas straight away. Whereas in the past, the migrants had to move in, rent for probably 4, 5, 6 years before they could afford to buy a property. Whereas now they're buying almost straight away.
So with Melbourne Square Stage 2 plan out now, I understand that you guys have started a pre-release. So what's the construction timeline like?
So the pre-release campaign would last for around about another 3 months or so.
Okay.
So we've been going for about 8 weeks. Then we're looking at sort of September, October, when we hope to have our new display finished on site. Then the marketing really kicks off locally here in Melbourne through local media and through more of our channel partners here as well. So the fact we've already sold in excess of 160 contracts has been a fantastic result for something we haven't really released publicly as such yet. But in terms of the overall timeline for completion for stage 2, it'll be an initial deposit that's paid. All of our contracts are issued via us or via yourself via a DocuSign, so they're all issued online. Once clients sign a contract of sale, they'll pay a 10% deposit that goes to a solicitor's trust account. It doesn't come into our director's trust account, doesn't go to the company trust account. We don't pay my wages, we don't pay marketing expenses from that. The money is very secure in a trust account, as we touched on earlier. The legislation does protect consumers in Australia, not like all parts of the world where it can be a little bit more hit and miss. Then once you've paid your deposit, it'll be a fixed price contract. You've secured your property, and then come Q1, Q2, 2026, we're expecting settlement of Boulevard, which is stage 2.
Yeah, so 2026, and I understand there is a commitment to develop South Bank further. Tell us more about that.
Yeah. So this will be Boulevard will be the 3rd tower. So where we are now, it's stage 1, which is East and West Tower. So there's 2 towers there. We have permits for another 3 buildings on this site of lower levels than where we're currently at. We're not entirely sure yet, but we're talking about a commercial residential component to one of those buildings. Another building will have a hotel, a 5-star hotel component and residential as well. And then the 3rd and final, or the 6th tower on the site, we're looking at residential as well. So we're committed to this site and this development for most likely the next 6 to 7 years until the whole precinct is done. And then I think if you could fast forward 6 years, I think then you'll see real value entrenched into this pocket. The project positioning initially for Melbourne Square was to create the most livable precinct in the most livable city in the world. That was what their mission statement was. So by bringing in all the amenity onto the site, when we're talking about the shopping centre, the childcare, cafes, restaurants, boutique stores and facilities downstairs, the idea was to have people that could literally exist within this precinct and not have to go out. Even though if you want to, everything is literally at your doorstep. But we've got a long-term commitment to this site.
Yeah, very exciting.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
indeed. Well, that's a fabulous chat. Very good, very insightful. Thank you so much, Michael.
No problem. Most
Really,
welcome.
thank you. And this will greatly assist us, our buyers, making an informed decision.
Michael, thank you so much. That has been great.
Thanks for coming in. No problem, anytime.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Jeanette. Thank you.
It has certainly been brilliant to learn about Melbourne Square, what's around. It's such a beautiful project. I think it's fantastic. I'm CERN. Here's my colleague, Jeanette.
Hello.
We're from BrandC, and we have the privilege to endorse this fantastic project, Melbourne Square. So get in touch with us or give us a call today to find out more about this fantastic project. Give us a like, comment below, and subscribe to our channel today.
They're buying almost straight away.
Sorry, that's my phone.
1 sec. Yeah.
That's my phone.
Oh, is that your
That's
phone?
alarm,
Oh, yeah.
Get in touch with us today. Jeanette, CERN from BrandC Real Estate.
Sorry, you can have to go on mute. Okay, my bad. That was my phone.
Thumbs up.
Yeah.